right, let's get down to this thing. The People's Podcast, episode 4. We in the building. All right, so a quick rundown what we going over today. We have some current events that we're going to talk about, and also life hacks. Life hacks. And these are just things that I have come across in my years of learning that have made life easier for the kid. So I'm going to share that. And then hopefully they make life a little easier for you as well. Also, if you have any life hacks, reach out, comment. You know, we can all learn from each other. That's what this is for. This is a collective space. And collective learning is always the best, learning from the experience of others. So if you have something to contribute, please contribute. First off on the current events tip. So something interesting. So a huge settlement in the world of news and media. Basically, a company sued Fox News because Fox News was reporting that during the Trump Biden election that fraudulent practices had taken place, and that this company was mainly responsible for those fraudulent practices, and then that's how Biden stole the election. Interesting. Not all in itself super newsworthy, except for a few things, which is $787 million. $787 million is the settlement, and that's what Fox News has to pay. Almost $1 billion. That is a crazy number. Another interesting aspect to this story is that so there's a loophole as usual, and apparently settlement payments, if the corporation pays it out of pocket, a portion of that can be tax deductible. And I want to be very clear. When you hear the term tax deductible in terms of people or these big corporations that don't pay their taxes, we pay the taxes. The people, that 13 cents on your food order, that $1.27 on your whatever. Every time you see tax on a receipt, that's money going to the government so the government can provide services for the people. And it's a way to finance that. So when we're saying that some of this portion of this 787 is going to be tax deductible, that's money coming out of yours and my pocket, and many other people, everybody actually. So I'm shining light on this for a number of reasons. I think that one of the biggest things that I want to highlight is this collusion between corporations and the government, and how the government is always looking out for corporate interests. Always, because the lobbyists that pay the politicians, they expect some get back. They expect some return. So and they get it, which is why corporations or government are really moving as one entity right now in the United States, which is not great for the normal person, for the regular person. So we need to do something about that, and the power lies in a couple different ways. The most straightforward way is voting. If we come together as a collective voting bloc, assuming that we want the same things in terms of fairness and just corporate responsibility. We can vote in that fashion and put people into office who are going to be representative of that. Um, the other way is, I think I spoke about this in a past episode. A past episode. I only got 3 of them, but you know what I'm saying. Protest and extensions of what a protest could be is also part of the people's power. The power is in our collective action, our collective thought, our collective action. And but we got to be organized. We got to be organized, and we have to do it with one voice. So, just something to think about. We have to get better at collaborating, because to put it simply, the corporations have taken over our government, and they lobby the politicians to create certain laws and that benefit them, and then it's like the systems of checks and balances is non-existent, because they're basically just telling the government what to do. Imagine if you could tell the government what to do, you would bend things in your favor. And corporations are not the most altruistic entities, so they like to bend things in their favor. All right. Next up in current events, AI. Yeah, we're back to this because there's a couple things I wanted to say that I don't know if I got to say the last time, which is AI is a tool. AI is a tool. I do not think we know the capacity for what this tool is capable of. I don't think we know that. I don't think we have a good grasp on that as a society. And also, the prevalence of AI, I feel, is going to be more exponential than we're really anticipating. So whereas it might take something, 5, 10, 20 years to really take hold, machines move at a much faster rate, which is why AI is so powerful. Machines move at a much faster rate. So I think this thing is going to move quickly. It is moving quickly. And the thing that concerns me is, since it is a tool, as a society, in our current state, we have not shown the best discipline and wisdom when it comes to using certain tools. We are still in a state of the ego. We're not worried about the collective benefit of what could happen, and the potentiality of things that could take place if we work together. So, and I'm talking about the obviously there are people that are like that, but I'm talking about the systems in charge are not like that. They're always looking for some kind of advantage. They're always looking for some kind of just way to use things, to manipulate things in their favor. And AI is going to be a very powerful tool in that context. So that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the human race's ability to manage AI in a responsible way. And hopefully we use it to empower each other and improve our collective quality of life versus fight each other or try to gain an advantage one up on the next person. If history has anything to say about that, this could be problematic. But I have ultimate faith in the human race, and I think that we're gonna pull it out. We're gonna pull it out. Um, but it's going to take the collective, because if we let the powers that be run shit like they've been running shit, um, we are in for a long, long millennium. We got this though. We got this. All right, so let's get into the life hacks. Ways to make your life easier. Ways to make your life more efficient in the way that you're moving and that you're operating. Before I get started, again, I'm still playing around with the camera and the sound setup. I hope I'm sounding good out there. Hope I'm looking clean out there. Hoodie. I don't know if you can see the design on that. Black on black. Available on the website. Check it out. And we got Louis the Lapis. Can we give it up for Louis the Lapis back in the building? That was a special request, so had to oblige that. Yeah. So, life hacks. Life hacks. We will start with the start of your day, which is your morning. When you're morning, have an established, strong and effective morning routine that will get your day started off on the right path. Momentum is huge. If you're discombobulated in the morning, you're waking up late, you're not doing anything, your whole day is going to be like that, and it's going to, or at least it's going to take a significant amount of time for you to recover from that. On the flip side, get up a little earlier, get your reading in, get your meditation in, stretching and breathing. I'm going to be saying that for the next 3,000 years. Stretching and breathing is just a key factor in optimal human performance. So but whatever it is that you need to do in the morning, if it's your cup of tea, if it's your cup of coffee, if it's your whatever, you want to try to front load your morning activities with things that are going to, first of all, get you on a nice mental and emotional even keel, and then also set the tone for the rest of your day. So your morning is super, super, super important. And a little bit of a life hack on the life hack in terms of winning your morning is winning your morning actually starts the night before. So get some good sleep. Don't go to sleep watching something like extra, like that has your extra violent or extra just stuff that you don't need operating in your subconscious mind while you're sleeping, because when you sleep, your whole mind is open. Your whole mind is open. And so you really want to make sure the activities that you do leading up to going to sleep are the seeds that you want to plant for a positive and productive mind the next day, the next week, your entire lifetime, et cetera, et cetera. What you do before you go to sleep is very, very, very important. Because again, it is the activity that leads into sleep, and then the sleep, when the conscious mind is shut down and the subconscious mind is open, the subconscious mind is the part that is connected to the universal mind. So whatever is happening in your subconscious mind is the manifester. It is the manifester. It is a thing that is going to come to fruition. So when you're morning, you can do that by winning the night before. Don't eat a lot of heavy foods before you go to sleep, because then your body is sending energy towards, digesting that and taking care of that. You really want your body to be in the healing mode, regeneration mode, positive thinking mode, and building and progressing as a mind state. And that has a lot to do with what you do before you go to bed. And then in the morning, you wake up, you have a routine that you do that is a positive routine for whatever it is that you do. My personal routine, I make sure I get my reading in. I make sure I get a small bit of meditation, and even if it's just 5 or 10 minutes, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Stretching and breathing, of course, that is mandatorio. I know that's not a word. I'm still working on my Duolingo, and I'm familiar with Spanish un poquito, so I know mandatorio is not a word. But the point I'm trying to get at is the stretching and breathing is probably the most important thing that you're going to be doing. Um, and I do my Duolingo in the morning, which is, this is all part of my routine, et cetera, et cetera. Make sure you have a strong morning routine. You win the morning, you win the day. Okay. Um, so a little bit more about the meditation in the morning. Part of your meditation in the morning should be visualizing how you want your day to go. So most likely when you wake up in the morning, you have a good idea of what you're going to be doing that day. You know what meetings you have, you know what people you're going to be talking to, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe not 100%, but you have a good idea. How do you want those things to go? What would be the best outcome in those situations? You want to visualize that. You want to visualize that because what's going to happen is, again, the universe is a reflection. And so by visualizing how you want it to go, you are increasing the chances that it actually goes that way. And it may not go exactly how you planned. It may not go exactly how you want it, but the more you can visualize it, especially in the morning, because the morning time coming out of that, when you're crushing that threshold from subconscious back into conscious, you're still somewhat tapped in you're always tapped in, but your connection is stronger to that subconscious level, which is again connected to the universal mind, which is the universal manifester. So the things you think about in the morning are very important, is the point that I'm getting to. So by visualizing the things that you want to happen and how you want them to happen, you are increasing your chances of those things happening in the way that you have visualized them. And I think that's pretty much what I want to say about that. Thoughts become things. So visualize at the beginning of your day. Take 5 minutes. 5 minutes is nothing. 5 minutes is, you spend 5 minutes scrolling on social media in the morning. Take 5 of those minutes, visualize how you want your day to go. At the end of the day, when you're lying in bed, visualize and reflect on your day. This is part 2 of this particular life hack. You want to reflect on the experiences that you've had, how they went, and then maybe possibly some things you could have done differently. Because then what will happen is you'll start to download these lessons again, subconsciously and consciously, and that will improve your decision making in the future. And it will help to imprint the experiences that you are having into your library of knowledge. Just reflecting on what happened that day. Hey, maybe I should have said this instead of saying that. Maybe I could have done this instead of doing that. Maybe I should have done nothing at all instead of doing something. Whatever it is, reflect on your day at the end of the day and visualize what you could have done differently. It will help you download the universal lessons that come with that. And that's what we're here for. We are here to download the universal lessons to improve our decision making and our choices that will eventually lead us to spiritual liberation. Life is all about choices. Life is all about choices. Where you are right now, where everybody is right now, is a culmination of choices that they've made. So this is one of my absolute favorite topics, and I will be definitely doing an episode just on this in the future, because it's one of my favorite things to talk about, and that is the deep breathing. Life hack number 3: practice deep breathing throughout the day. Period. Okay. So often we try to bring deep breathing in when things have already kind of spiraled outside of our normal control or what have you. Prevention is better than cure. If you're practicing your deep breathing throughout the day, you're less likely to even hit those peaks where you feel super anxious, or where you feel super sad, or where you feel super unbalanced. The deep breathing helps prevent all of that. So often it's like, oh, I'm feeling anxious now. Now I'm going to do my deep breathing. No, the time to do the deep breathing was 20 minutes ago, when you woke up this morning, yesterday. That again, the prevention is always better than the cure. Also, an old saying, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Breathing is the exact same way. We should have started when we were born. The next best time, right now. So start taking your deep breaths. I cannot say enough about the positive benefits of deep breathing. And there is a reason that deep breathing is emphasized in almost every spiritual tradition, in almost every location around the world, because it is that thing. It is that thing that weaves together the mental, emotional, physical, spiritual aspect of what our entire being is, and it helps to balance it out. You can slow down your breath to slow down your mind, slow down your body, get in tune with that universal flow. You can speed up your breath if you want to increase your energy, if you want to enhance the living, mental, emotional things that you already have going on. The breath can do everything. I literally cannot say enough about the breath, and I will definitely have a future episode all about the science of breath. And if you want to read about it a little more, I think you can find a PDF on Google. It's actually called The Science of Breath. It was written in the early 1900s by a yogi, and it just goes down. It talks about the process of breathing and the benefits of it. If you are interested in learning more about your breath and learning more about the deep breathing, tap into The Science of Breath. Literally, and also the book or the PDF. It's a book. You can order it on Amazon. Whatever the case may be, learn more about what is actually happening while you're breathing. And you will be amazed. The majority of your immune system is in your stomach. The majority of serotonin, which is a mood stabilizer, is produced and stored in your stomach. So these are very basic physiological functions, and most of your organs are in your stomach. Like everything is happening here. This is the brain of the body. This is an incredibly important part of the body's overall physical well-being, and tied to mental and emotional health as well. It's everything. I really can't say enough about it. So circling back, overviewing, take as many deep breaths throughout the day as you can. Now, you might be saying, Corey, what is a proper deep breath? Okay, let's do that. You want to start the breath in the stomach. A lot of the times when we are breathing, we take unconscious, meaning we're not even thinking about it, shallow chest breaths. Shallow chest breaths. Okay, that's a tough one. But that's what we're doing for the majority of the day if you're not really conscious of it. What you want to be doing is taking conscious deep breaths that start in the stomach. You pull it up through the stomach, you pull it up through the diaphragm, you pull it up into the chest, might even hit the neck. And you want to just do a nice, deep, even breath, and you want to do a nice, deep, even exhale. Do not cheat on the exhale. A lot of people, they take a lovely deep breath, and it's great and everything, and then they just, no, don't cheat on the exhale. The exhale is where the money is made. The exhale is the culmination of the entire experience, and where you reap the benefits of the breath that you just put in. So don't cheat on the exhale. A good way I like to say it, you want to start the breath in the stomach, breathe in as much as you can comfortably, keyword comfortably, and then you want to exhale as slow as you can comfortably. That is a proper deep breath. And then there's things you can do. You can hold at the top of the inhale. You can hold at the bottom of the exhale. You can get into some different stuff. But just a basic standard deep breath, you want to breathe in as much as you can comfortably, exhale as slow as you can comfortably. And the reason I say comfortably is because if if this is if this is new to your body and new to you, it's going to feel a little uncomfortable, and you don't want to get into a situation where you're trying to force a deep breath in or out just to try to get more on it. Listen, you're going to be breathing for a very, very, very long time, God willing. So if you don't get it on this go round, the positive thing is you have a breath coming up the very next second where you can get it. So just make sure it's comfortable, because an uncomfortable breath is really not going to give you the benefits that you're looking for. You want it to be a nice, smooth breath. Okay? Definitely, listen, I am the biggest advocate when it comes for deep breathing, so we will definitely be having a full episode on just on breathing. Just on breathing. It is that important. All right. Next we're gonna get into a few little bit quicker, just little things that, if done across time, can turn into big things. One thing that has really helped me in my acquisition of knowledge is listening to podcasts and lectures, YouTube videos, et cetera, on an accelerated speed. So like 1.5, 1.75. If the person has an accent, I might have to slow it down a little bit more, but listen to podcasts, lectures, YouTube videos on 1.5 or more. And it will just, you get the information quicker. And you don't have to spend as much time actually listening to it, but you still get the information. It's a super simple one. Also related to that, listen to podcasts, lectures, et cetera, while you're doing other things. So if you're washing your dishes, if you're doing your laundry, if you're cleaning your house, if you're drawing, whatever you're doing, you can always multitask, because again, even you're listening to it consciously, but you're always listening to everything subconsciously, and you're always taking everything in. So even just putting it on, doing multiple things at once and putting on something productive. So put on a lecture that you like, put on a podcast that you like while you're doing something, and you can do two things at once. Yeah, that's a simple one. Okay, next, as you're reading, a suggestion is to, when you come across something that you feel like is an important part of the book, bracket instead of highlight or underline. If you go to your one of your books right now, go to 2 paragraphs in that book. See how long it takes you to highlight one paragraph, and then see how long it takes you to bracket a paragraph. A bracket, just a parentheses at the beginning, a parentheses at the end. It's infinitely faster. And so, in addition to that, another thing I like to do is when I read a book, I bracket the important sections that I feel like are like, oh, that stands out to me, et cetera, like an annotation. And then if I want to come back and I want to get the wisdom from that book after I've read it, maybe a month later, a year later, 10 years later, whatever the case may be, I just read through the brackets. And then it's like I can read a book because the brackets are obviously much shorter than the book. I'm reading through, but I'm picking back up on the lessons. How many times do we read a book, we're like, wow, there's so much wisdom in this book, but then we never revisit it. We never really, sit with it and download it and implement it. It happens to me a lot. So what I like to do is, if I come across that kind of knowledge and wisdom, I go back through my brackets, and then it's basically like reading a book in a day. Because you're just extracting all the things that you had previously pointed out were some of the most important things in that book. So bracket instead of highlight. Super simple. Will save you a lot of time. While we're on the subject of books, there are a lot of books that I want to read. And if you are an avid reader, I'm sure there are a lot of books that you want to read also. Unfortunately, just the way the modern world is set up, unless your lifestyle really uh, allows for that, you don't have the time to read all the books that you want to read. So something you can do though, and something I do often, which is very helpful, is again, we live in this information age where so much knowledge is at our fingertips. You can Google a video and listen to an author talk about their book. So if I got 20 books on a list that I want to read, and I'm like, I can't read all 20 of these books, which one do I want to read? I'm positive for 90% of those, there will be a video of the author talking about the book that they wrote. You can listen to the video. The video might be, 30 minutes, an hour, whatever the case may be. If you listen to it on 1.5, 1.75, it's going to be a lot less. But you do that, and then from there, you can be like, oh, this is actually something that I want to go into more detail about, and then you read the book because the information is presented in a way where it's like, no, I want to, this is powerful information. I want to know more about this. Or you're like, oh, you know what? I wanted to read that book, but listen to the author talk about it. I think I got the gist of it. I don't think I need to read the whole book. So I'm just going to, keep it pushing. Reading a book is a big commitment. And in 2023, reading a book is a big commitment. It takes time. It takes energy. And those are two very valuable things. So it's like really discerning about how you're spending your time and energy, because nothing is worse. I mean, there are a lot of things worse, but it's very unproductive to and if you ever had this feeling, you know what I mean, when you're reading a book and you're like, this is just not it. This is not worth my time to be reading. And then sometimes you keep reading because it's like you want it to get better, or sometimes you try to finish it because you're like, I already started it. Listen to the author talk about their book. Discern from there whether you think it's worth your time or not, and from there you can kind of disseminate, okay, I'm going to read this or I'm not going to read this. But either way, you can still download a lot of information just by hearing the authors talk about their book, because when the authors talk about their book, they're giving you the main points. They're giving you their main goal. They're giving you their proposed outcomes, what they want you to take away from it, what they think is the most important thing you need to hear about it. So you can do that. Okay. Next life hack: efficiency through experience. Constantly refine and improve your methods based off of your experience. Don't just do things the way you've always done them because that's the way you've always done it. If you're doing something, think in your mind, is this the most efficient way that I could be doing this? Because again, time is the thing that you spend, but you can't get any of it back in the human sense. We're talking about human lifetimes, not spiritual lifetimes. But time is just so critical. So thinking about when you're doing something, think about, is this the most efficient way to be doing this, or could I do it a different way to maybe save myself some time and energy? There are very few activities that are more beneficial to you than saving time and energy, because now you have time and energy for other things that are worth your time and energy. So I'll give an example of this. So another life hack is you want to, and it's related to efficiency through experience. You want to group, when you're doing a task, you want to group similar activities together because it will help the process move along more efficiently. And so an easy example I would use is if you have to make 50 sandwiches, right? Let's say you have to make 50 sandwiches for whatever reason, your school, your business, whatever. There's one way to do it, which is you get the two pieces of bread, you put some mayonnaise and some mustard on it, then you put the turkey on it, then you put a piece of lettuce, then you put a tomato, you put it in a plastic bag, fold it up. That's one sandwich. The much more efficient way to do that is to group the similar activities. So first, you set out your 100 pieces of bread. You put on all the mayonnaise on all the bread. You put the mustard on all the bread. You put the turkey on all the bread. You put the lettuce, tomato, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then you fold them up, et cetera. It's a much more efficient system just because you get in the habit and the repetition of doing the same thing over and over again. And that, again, we're talking about saving time and energy. So group activities together. This is also the power of the assembly line. If you have a group of people and you have a task, have them specialize in one thing versus everybody trying to do everything. You focus in on the one thing that you have to do, and then you do it in repetition. And by doing it in repetition, you get better at it and you get more efficient at it, and it saves you time and energy. So there's a lot of things that this can apply to. This can apply to office work. This can apply to business. This can apply to manual labor. This can apply to almost anything. But two things you really want to do. You want to be conscious of trying to get more efficient through your experiences and thinking, is there a better way to do this? Because most likely there might be. And then again, you're saving time and energy. And consolidate the tasks so that you use repetition in your favor. Okay? Use repetition in your favor. All right. Another life hack is, if you have a goal and something that you want to do, write it down and speak about it. Tell it to people. Because what you're doing, and we talked about this in the manifestation episode, what you're doing is you have a thought in your mind that you want to manifest. I want to become a better cook. I need to write down, become a better cook, and then whatever notes that go along with that. And I'll tell my family members, I'll tell my friends, like, hey man, I'm working on my cooking. I'm trying to be a better cook because I want to eat better, et cetera, et cetera. What you're doing is you're bridging that gap between the unmanifest and the manifest. The unmanifest is in your mind. It's the world of infinite potential in your mind, which you can imagine anything. That doesn't mean it's gonna come into creation, though. That doesn't mean it's going to come into 3D. When you speak it, though, and especially when you write it down, you are automatically bridging that gap between the unmanifest and the manifest, and therefore you are increasing the chances that you will be able to create that thing and that it's going to be able to manifest. Okay, so if you have a goal, if you have a thought, if you have whatever you want to manifest, write it down, speak it. Life hack. Okay. The next one deals with something that I think everybody battles with at some point or another, which is procrastination. Procrastination. It's the thing that doesn't make us as efficient as we want to be. It's the thing that kind of wastes time and energy. And again, a lot of these life hacks are about saving time and energy so that you have more time and energy to do the things that you really want to do. And the biggest thing about procrastination and the life hack dealing with procrastination is just get started. Just get the ball rolling. Whatever the thing is, you have to write a paper, you have to read a book, you have to move, stuff from this place to that. Whatever the thing is that you're procrastinating on, just get started. Just get started. That is the hardest part. And once you get started, you will start to create momentum that will help you complete your task. Because now, literally, when you get started, you are literally activating the laws of the universe to be in your favor and to help you complete whatever task is you're trying to complete. Whatever is in motion tends to stay in motion. Whatever is at rest tends to stay at rest. So literally, when you start moving, you literally activate the laws of the universe to help you in your favor and to continue moving and to keep progressing towards your goal. Just get started. I promise it's the hardest part. And you might not do it for a long time. And that's fine. At least you got started and you got some of it done. You will see the progress as you consistently implement just getting started. Even if you I know Even if it's just like, I'm working on this thing, I have a paper to write, I'm going to work on it for 5 minutes. Work on it for 5 minutes. That is going to help you complete your task. And it might not seem like a lot. You might think you got to sit down for an hour, dedicate a whole night to get something done. You don't have to do that, especially if you are breaking it up into smaller blocks. Which brings me to my next life hack, which is building habits. Ooh wee. When I say this is the one, this is the one. Again, I can never put anything over the deep breathing. The deep breathing is literally the key to happiness in your progress and productivity in your entire life. There are subsets underneath that, and there's some things that are on the same in the same arena, not necessarily on the same level. One of those things are your habits. 80 to 90% of what you do throughout your day is based on the habits that you built up. So are your habits taking you in this direction, the direction that you want to go, or are they impeding that? So you really want to build positive habits. And I will definitely, this is another one that is going to have to be its own episode as well, because habits are just such a critical part of what we do. And a critical part of our quality of life. You want to create positive habits that are going to take you in the direction that you want your life to go in. You know, if you want to live a long, healthy life, then your eating habits need to support that. Your mental and emotional habits need to support that. If you want to be successful, if you want to be rich, maybe famous, et cetera, you need to have habits that are going to support that. Okay? Because your habits are going to create your life. Your habits do create your life. Your habits have created your life. So that's going to be its own episode. But one life hack is to really pay attention and be intentional around, what are my habits? What do I want my habits to be? All right. Last but not least, in the life hack category, one of my favorite sayings, work hard, play hard. Two of the keys to life. But they're in that order for a particular reason. You do the work first, then you play. And both are important. Your work ethic and your ability to put energy towards the thing that you're trying to create and that you want to do in your life is of extreme importance. You are not going to get anywhere without working hard. Nowhere. Progress comes from work. Anything that you want to get better at, anything that you're good at, you had to work at it. So work is always a critical ingredient. But you also got to play. Do the things you enjoy. Fill your life up with the things that bring you happiness. It's a very important balance. So it's work hard, then play hard. All right, y'all. We getting down to this thing. People's Podcast, episode 4, where the power meets the people. All right. I'll see y'all next time.